Imagine a show that transports you back to your childhood, a show that perfectly captures the magic of the 80s and reminds you of a simpler time, a show that you can seem to stop binge watching even if it means losing sleep. Let's explore why this show keeps audience coming back for more, and that is Stranger Things. Psychologists have found that nostalgia can serve several functions in our lives. It can be a source of comfort, providing us with feelings of continuous existence and a sense of personal history that reminds us of who we are and where we come from. It can also give our life a sense of meaning, particularly when we are feeling down or lost, by reminding us of a past experience that made us happy. Nostalgia is not always about personal experiences. It can also be a yearning for past times or eras. This is known as historical or collective nostalgia, and is often triggered by cultural artifacts such as music, movies, and TV shows. It's this kind of nostalgia that shows like Stranger Things tap into, transporting viewers back to a bygone era and creating a powerful emotional connection that makes the show so addictive. Stranger Things bridge the gap between the past and the present, connecting viewers to the characters and story in a profound way. The Netflix original series has enthralled audience across generations. But what is it about this 80s inspired sci-fi show that make it so addictive? Stranger Things has a unique ability to transport viewers back to their childhood. From the moment the retro opening theme song begins, you feel immersed in the magic and mystery of being a carefree kid. The Duffer Brothers skillfully bottled that nostalgic feeling. So how does exactly the Stranger Things tap into the wellspring of nostalgia so effectively? Let's explore these psychological tricks that make this show a nostalgic escape for millions of viewers around the world. The most obvious source of nostalgia in Stranger Things is its setting in the 1980s. From the fashion and technology to the pop culture reference, everything about the show is designed to trigger nostalgic memories for viewers who lived through that decade, especially those who were kids or teens at the time. By portraying the time period with its meticulous detail, the Duffer Brothers create a rich aesthetic that makes audience feel transported back to their youth. This nostalgic setting is enhanced by the small town, suburban environment, three-line streets, sprawling middle school hallways, and cozy basement hangouts all evoke the wonder and freedom of childhood summers in ways that adult viewers long for. But Stranger Things doesn't just rely on nostalgic backdrops alone. The themes and the storytelling also pull audience sentimental memories. The show captured what it felt like as a child to have adventures with close friends, where the ordinary transforms into the extraordinary. As the main cast rides around town on bicycles investigating supernatural mysteries, it's easy for adult viewers to idolize their own childhood memories in the same rosy, whimsical light. By portraying themes of friendship and bravery through the lens of childhood innocence, Stranger Things allows audience to re-experience being a fearless kid. But the question is, why does this decade seem to inspire such strong nostalgic attachments? It comes down to the psychological of how we view the past. As we age, we tend to look back at the decades we grew up in with rose-colored glasses. The nostalgia cycle makes us obsess over the music, fashion, and culture from our formative years with an added dose of sentimentality. For example, the 90s love the 80s love the 70s, and so on and so on. That's just my thoughts. But the 80s were a flashy, bright, fun era. Iconic movies like The Breakfast Club and E.T. perfectly encapsulate the youthful wonder of the times. The music from the bands like The Police and Journey matched that exuberance. Leg warmers, big hair, 80s style is bold and eye-catchy. As Stranger Things links heavily on all of these cultural touchstones, the showrunners expertly scattering reference to the most emblematic aspects of the decade. Each memory triggers deepens our nostalgic bond. It's as if the series peered directly into our brain's nostalgia centers and systematically activated each one.
Jaws is a big one, and then E.T. is a big one.
Stand By Me.
Stand By Me is a big one.
And then just some Stephen King books, not like It is a big influence.
The immense care and attention to detail that the Duffer Brothers put into recreating the 1980s is clear when you hear them discuss influence like Jaws, E.T., and Stand By Me. They aim to truly transport viewers back by weaving into the subtle nostalgic triggers across all aspects of the show. As the creators explained, they wanted the look, the music, and even the way the kids talk to feel ripped right out of the 80s pop culture they grew up loving. This approach to production design, clothes, and reference is a huge part of why the show elites such strong nostalgia. The Duffer Brothers also mentioned being inspired by the way movies like The Goonies portrayed themes of childhood and adventure from a kid's perspective. Stranger Things taps into that same timeless coming-of-age spirit. By blending together the most iconic touchstones from the 80s cinema that shaped their youth, the creators of Stranger Things have crafted the ultimate nostalgic viewing experience. It's clear their own deep nostalgic attachment to those films and that era is what makes the show so deeply resonate with the audience who feel the same way longing for the past. And hey, props to the Duffer Brothers who handpicked the most emblematic parts of the 80s pop culture to infuse Stranger Things with nostalgia. But equally important is how the show used storytelling and characterization to drive that underlying nostalgic emotion. At its core, Stranger Things is about the unbreakable bond of childhood friendship. We feel nostalgic for the days when our biggest worry was getting home by sunset to avoid rap from our parents, when the highlight of each day was hopping on our bikes with our best friends to explore the woods or our neighborhood, depending on where you live. The characters of Stranger Things want for them same, simpler times. As teens balancing first love and fractured families, they take peace in Dungeons and Dragons games that bring back that feeling of childhood adventure or going to the mall. The show adds by contrasting the innocence of youth with the harsher realities of adulthood. It's something that we see throughout the 4 seasons. Beyond just depicting the 80s itself, Stranger Things also taps into the timeless coming-of-age themes. Throughout the series, the characters face struggles that viewers can relate back to their own adolescent experiences. These emotional touchpoints remind us of how it felt navigating the ups and downs of growing up. The friend group dynamics also serves as a nostalgia fuel. We idolize the unbreakable bonds between Mike, Dustin, Lucas, and Will because it reminds us of our own close childhood best friends. Their loyalty, inside jokes, and willingness to face danger together idolize how we remember those first friendships. But its ability to make audience nostalgic stems equally from mining universal adolescent experiences. We yearn for the feeling of being a kid on an adventure again, but artfully blending retro aesthetics with timeless themes of youth, friendship, and love. Stranger Things create the perfect nostalgic escape, but not just through narrative but also on a sensory level, but surrounding them with the sights, sounds, and iconography that shaped their adolescence. The sadness we feel gazing back to the past may be a largely romanticized reconstruction of youth, but that rosy perspective speaks out to the power of nostalgia and how we view our own life journeys. Stranger Things has expertly tapped into this wistful impulse to look back with longing. It crafted nostalgic spells, shows how our collective pop culture can function as a time machine, transporting us back to who we once were or who we once wanted to be. My name is Christian. Thank you.